Valley in our first gallery, Eva right here, and Jane our third. And so we're gonna start. Eva.
Hi everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going first because I get nervous that I got my notes. So this is my second solo exhibition that's dedicated to my hometown, Kathmandu. So as most of you might know, but I was born and raised in Kathmandu. So this exhibition is dedicated to near Kathmandu. I mean, it's part of Kathmandu. So today I'm going to talk about two topics, a little bit about my painting process, and then I'll talk about what this series is and go through some of these paintings. So as you might have noticed, I love architecture. I've been painting architecture stuff for a long time. It's also not just any architecture. I have to have some kind of emotional connection to the place, and they become my subject. And also, I enjoy puzzles. So I think architecture gives an easy translation to puzzle. So that's another reason I love architecture. And just one last thing. Oh, and the space. I love to play with the space. So one of my favorite artists, Joe Davis, who taught me how to kind of combine like a real space and imaginary space, and I love to kind of play around with it. So that's how I work. And let's see, what else? For this series, usually I've been playing with the space, but for this series, I also took some inspiration from like romanticism and surrealism that gave me a little different dimension to work with this place. Okay? And I talk a little bit about what this place is. So as I mentioned, this exhibition is dedicated to my birthplace, Sakwo, which is an ancient town in Kathmandu Valley. It's an ancient Newar town. Newar, I should say what it is. So Newar is indigenous inhabitants of Kathmandu Valley, and they've been there for many centuries, and they have helped with arts and culture, what you still see around Kathmandu. And they like to live in very close-knit community, and they have a lot of rituals and beliefs. So that's where we come to these gates, okay? So as they are living in very close-knit community, they've made these gates to a pathway to the community. So that's how you go in and out. There were 8 gates in this town, but only 5 of them survived, and that is the inspiration for my series, to the gates. Each gate has a specific purpose. I will go through each one of them a little bit. So as you can see, they are filled with these deities, a lot of symbolism. They all mean for some sort of a blessing and protection for the people. Okay, let's go through. Another thing I want to say is these 5 gates, as I was planning for this. As I mentioned, I love to play with imaginary and real space, but having this gate and a purpose also gave me another dimension to add some sort of a symbolic space. Okay, let's go through the first gate. When you come to this community, this is the first gate you go through. It's called the bride's gate. And I mean, in any culture, the bride, bringing the bride, the wedding is a big ceremonial event. And this is also the main gate for the newcomers we welcome to this gate. So that was the inspiration. I wanted to make this gate as a new beginning or big ceremonial. And I forgot one thing. I brought some pictures and I forgot about it. So this is the gate. So this is the recent picture. My family helped me quite a bit to bring these resources for me. I'll pass this around. Yeah, and I have some of the symbolism and some mythical features. The whole idea is it to be a more welcoming or new beginning. Okay. I'll leave some time for the end to ask any questions. And we're gonna go to the second gate, which is also has to do a little bit with the wedding, but not exactly. So let's see. This one. So just as that's the bride's gate is joyous, this one is called daughter's gate. So in my culture, giving away a daughter is a little bittersweet moment because she will be leaving home for the first time. So that was the inspiration for this one called Daughter's Gate. So I kept some of the art and the mood. It's happy but not quite. That was the inspiration. I'll pass this around. And third one is the Nari Gate. So Nari is the river, and it's a temple outside the community. So there is a once a year festival for a month that brings a lot of faithful community to this place. They go through this gate to go outside the community for this temple. Actually, that's the temple over there. So this is the inspiration for this gate. Okay. So in my culture, the gold is used everywhere. It's a sign of prosperity. We use for God, goddesses, and a lot of different symbols. So I took that and kept those colors, and even there's some gold here, and some mythical creature. The whole idea was, to hint at a spiritual journey, because that's what the gate symbol is about. We're almost there. Fourth one, and this one is one of the gate that probably hasn't been touched for centuries, so it's still the brick building. It's called the Funeral Procession Gate. It hasn't been changed a lot, so that is the inspiration for this one. So when somebody from the community passes on, they bring the person through this gate to bring it outside for afterlife ritual. So that's the inspiration here. I kept some of these mythical creature that has to do with some kind of struggle between good and evil. This symbol is actually in many of the temple. So I just thought it was fitting, and also, it's a sad event, so it's a little bit darker. Last gate is called the Goddess Gate. This is actually one of my favorite gates because it brings a lot of memories. It's outside. We have a lot of mountains. So this gate is used especially once a year. We have a big festival where we bring a goddess Vajrayogini from faraway temple to the town. So the idea is she's a protector of the town. She comes to town for 1 week, and it's a big celebration. So I have so much memories. We have flags all around, the music, and whole week, like there are lights everywhere, and people come to bring the candle every night. The whole week is a big thing. So that's the inspiration for this gate. And so I tried to make it more cheerful, a lot of light, and a lot of flags as I remember as a child. So I think those are the 5 main gates to the gate series. I have a few small paintings that's also part of the same community or related to the community. So basically I just wanted to, as a Noir growing up there, I wanted to bring these memories through paintings. That was my goal. And also these gates form some sort of, it's a living map of ritual and belief of this community that I grew up. And lastly, I hope you enjoy looking at these paintings, and if you have any question, I will, just let me know. Yeah, thank you.
So the paintings that you did, where were you actually when you did the paintings?
Oh, that's a
physically
good question. Yeah. So I have been a plein air painter for a long time, but last 7 years or so, I've also been practicing in studio. So this whole series is in the studio. I was not there.
So working off of
Photographs, but we were there in 2022, And I took a lot of pictures. And as I mentioned, my family is still there, so they provide me with a lot of videos and stuff. So these are all based on studio work.
Thank you.
When you think about what's inside the arch versus what's outside of the arch, how do you choose what to put in the center versus outside?
Well, that's a very good question. It's a lot of trials and error because I mean it's a town. There are a lot of architectural stuff. It started out, the first gate I did was actually behind you. That was the first painting I did of the same gate, the bride gate. It had the alleyway, and when I did the big painting, it just did not fit. And I ended up just removing, and then at one point it just looks like I was paying homage to this place, and then nothing else was as important as a gate. And that's what it became, yeah.
A small one that's not for sale, because you didn't mention what it's about, and I'm just curious to know.
Thank you. So that one is actually not exactly in the community. It's far away. The goddess I mentioned in the temple, that's part of it. I used to go there as a kid, and that was the first painting I did of that place. So it's special.
Think of the paintings. How do you pick the size? Because there's so many different sizes. How do you pick?
So far, I've been doing a lot of small paintings. So these are the smaller one you see has been the size I paint for a long time. But for these 5 series, I was just trying to challenge myself because I've been painting architecture with small size for a long time. So it was time for me to add another dimension to it. So I tried first one to see how that was, and then it feels fitting to have the bigger size for at least these 5 gates. Next year, who knows?
Do you think you would go bigger or even smaller?
I don't know. Probably not. There was a lot of frustration doing the bigger size. It just didn't go as I planned. So, it depends. I might take a break from big size for a couple of years. Yeah. Anything else? Oh,
That's okay. I had mentioned about the size to you before.
yeah.
As I can almost visualize bigger, but a thing that I would love to know is that based on the gate, and as you explained what each one represents, do you have a color in mind? Because the color is so key to each gate, even if there's some semblance of architecture behind, or like straight behind it, that aura of just with the flags and that serene color is just stunning. It just brings everything out. So I wonder if in your mind you have an idea of your base color or your main focus background color.
Sometimes I plan out, but these series we not plan out. There were a lot of layers of different things. And I mean, it's good to look at these different things for inspiration. And so I was saying I've been so stuck in a space before, and this is the first time I really struggled with that first painting. It didn't go anywhere, and I had to look outside for other inspiration. So romanticism, they had a lot of movie painting that helped me sort of to bring different layers. But it's a trial and error. So sometimes it works, and then you have to recognize it worked, and sometimes it doesn't.
It works beautifully, particularly you see that different mood, sense of mood.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just, this is idle curiosity, I guess, but I was looking at all the houses, the buildings that are behind the gates. What era roughly are those houses from, or that housing from, like?
So the town is few centuries old, but in 2015 we had a big earthquake.
Okay.
So 70% of them are gone. I think there are a lot of new buildings now, but they try to keep some architecture, but there are very few that's left from a while ago. Okay.
Oh, and then I don't know if you did talk about this in your artist talk, but would you add people in your next paintings at all? Or
do you think it helps that there's no people? Because then it focuses it on the buildings.
That's a very good question. So far, I have not been adding figurative thing. I actually went to a figurative school, and after the school, I didn't want to look at the people anymore. But you never know. Like, I mean, even though I didn't add the figure, there are some mythical creatures, some parts of the figurative elements there. May not be right away, but who knows? Maybe in a few years, if it makes sense, I might. But not adding the figure, also another advantage is that you don't know when that era is from. Like, I don't put cars either. It just, unless the car is, something visually I really enjoy. So it gives a little mystery to